All right. Welcome everyone. Thank you guys first of all so much for dropping by and just even watching my live streams. And thank you guys, wow, for 3 likes already before the live stream even started. Thank you guys. All right, so let's take a look at the live chat here. Hey, what's up, DION? Hello. My girlfriend's here as well. Do nothing. What's up? Valerie, hey, what's up? Nice to see you back. All right, so I'm just gonna do a quick live stream here for you all. Kind of go over the markets, and now I'm gonna look over some charts that I think you guys might be interested in, and we'll just end it there. But yeah, I'm just gonna do a very quick and easy live stream here for you all. So for SPY here, for the overall markets, I don't see anything unusual. Okay, we just have more of a kind of a geopolitical risk that's going in the markets right now, and it's being priced in. With the thing with China and Taiwan. I gave you guys all a, especially for the CFS Swing Watch members, I gave you guys an in-depth breakdown on kind of like a general kind of breakdown, not really in depth, but on what I think and what could happen and what are my speculations. But with Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, is finally landed on Taiwan. So I mean, nothing has happened just yet, right? Nothing yet. So I think the markets were pricing in that and the fact that nothing has happened, and that's the reason why we had a nice big movement up higher today as well. But at the same time, if we removed all catalysts and risks, especially geopolitical risks, we essentially just bounced at this ascending resistance level, which we've been using as support for the past 2 trading days, right? So that's what we did today. But unfortunately, there's some more bad news that are being priced in, with more tensions rising in China and other reasons like monkeypox, right? The monkeypox virus, and people fearing that it's going to become another COVID-like pandemic. And the market has been pricing in that as well. So as more risks are increasing, I think the market is going to try to price in that risk. But who knows? Today might have just been the actual one day that the market has priced in all of those risks, right? So the reason why I say that is that, first of all, technically, right, technical-wise, I don't see anything wrong here, right? I don't see a huge pullback imminent at all either. And if I just got rid of all the catalysts, right, all the risks, based on the volume, we're seeing a nice technical pullback, right, after a nice big run so far, right? We've been making a run since we've held this 372.50 level, right? And this is the major level support that comes after this line in the sand 363 critical level. Right, so after this big bounce and the fact that we've been running ever since then, we're just kind of cooling off here, right? And as the 10 SMA starts to catch up once more, this time around, I believe we're gonna have a lot more consolidation as we need the 21 SMA to catch up now, right? Because we really moved far away from the 21 SMA. So, the kind of the long-term perspective here is that, and the perspective that I want you guys to take note of is that the daily 50 SMA, this 50 dark blue line here, right? The 50 SMA, this dark blue line, okay? We're above it, right? So that's kind of the main kind of long-term perspective that you guys can have and hold for now, since we are still above it, right? We haven't broken below it. We haven't come back down to retest it again, right? We retested it last week and then blasted off. So nothing to really, be concerned about. Now, I did tell my Silverstream Watch members on Sunday, that I am potentially expecting the market to reach 405 and then bounce. Why? Because that was a previous level of support that we used in the past when we started to consolidate, right? Back in mid-May or late May to early June. So we can see the same thing happening, right? We're already witnessing something like this, right? That has happened back then, right? Except we haven't reached that 415.70 to 416 area of resistance, right? Or just simply 416. And so we haven't cleared the May high, not the May highs. If you go back to the weekly time frame, we haven't cleared. Actually, it is the June highs, not the May highs, right? So we haven't cleared June's highs just yet, which is the reason why I'm still staying a little bit skeptical on this uptrend, right? Unless we clear June's highs, we'll be able to move past May's highs as well. Okay, which is on this candlestick right here. So once you're able to move and blast past 416 and use 416 as new support, then we can hit it back to around 428 to 430. Okay, and 428 to 430 will be the next kind of a rough area that I want to be looking at for the next level of resistance for SPY. Hey, Adriana, what's up? Joel, what's up? Thank you guys for dropping by. Thank you guys for the likes. We have 4 likes already. Ooh. We just started too. It's not even been 10 minutes yet. Okay, so that's what I think for the market. Just watch out for the 405.20 level for this week. That is our crucial level of support. And if we do decide to break out in the latter half of this week, I would expect us to break above the current resistance around 413 right now, and then move all the way up to 416. Hey, Options Log, what's up? What is up? So hey, thank you guys for the likes. Awesome. Can we get to 10 likes? Are we able to get to 10 likes, guys? Is that possible? So if you guys are new to this live stream, we kind of have this general rule here that if we can get to the minimum of 10 likes or even maximum 10 likes, it really helps with the YouTube algorithm while I'm currently live. So that will be great if you guys can always achieve that goal, that minimum or maximum goal of 10 likes. All right, so that's it for SPY. If you guys have any questions, make sure you guys leave it in the live chat, and I'll make sure to look at it. But with that in mind, let's go over some charts that I think is worthy for you guys to look at. So let's take a look at CELH. Okay, so this is Celsius Holdings. So the major brand of Pepsi, okay, the company Pepsi or brand Pepsi, decided to invest in this company for I think over $500 million. A little over $500 million. So that's huge, right? So this is a energy drink, right? And Celsius Holdings, I unfortunately wasn't looking at this name for quite a long time. I think I looked at this name after earnings here back in May, and I was like, okay, this might be a good price to get in at around 55-ish, right? But I didn't take a second look, and it's already at triple digits thanks to that investment news from PepsiCo. So I'm gonna keep an eye on this. Why? Because swings tend to great swings to the upside tends to come from names that are able to hold a huge gap up, especially from catalysts. So it could be earnings catalyst or a news catalyst, like for instance on this name, right? And for the fact that we have earnings coming up, which is very interesting, for the fact that we've had such a positive news, okay, on this company, for a fact that they have a huge investment from a big brand right before earnings, kind of makes me suspicious that this company may have some not so good earnings. Okay, so this may just be another kind of a scheme, not really a scheme, but kind of a legitimate and legal kind of way to have insiders or maybe just very, very prominent shareholders in this company to kind of unload their shares near all-time high prices, right? So, you know, we're right back to the hundreds, right? And the previous all-time high was 110.22. So, you know, I think we reached that, almost reached that, right? Since the high of today was 109.74 and of this week. So what I'm expecting from this point forward is either a continuation to new all-time highs or on the weekly time frame, since we have this nice rounded, let me put that away. Since we do have a nice rounded semicircle here, maybe we can start seeing some type of a cup and handle formation, right? We have a handle that rounds as well, or we can have a descending channel like this for another cup and handle so that the price can either pop up, come back down, and start forming and consolidating into a nice descending channel before rising up higher and then breaking up to the upside into new all-time highs, right? Probably into 120s to 130s. Okay, so CELH, long-term name that you guys can consider, especially if we do hold this uptrend and this gap up so far that we've had. Okay, actually, let me actually keep this drawing as well, just in the event that we can come back in the near-term future. All right, so this is one of the names here, and the next name that I have in mind for you guys to watch out for this week is Meta. Okay, so Meta has been consolidating all this week so far, and if you take a look on the weekly time frame, all right, we are practically back to the 2020 lows here. All right, but here's the thing, okay? Even before the 2020 lows here, right? We did make a lows back in 2018, and we didn't even reach that low in 2020, right? We would have expected, with all the huge sell-offs that happened in 2020, for Meta to actually move right back down, right? So. And practically even go back to even lower 100s, right? Because we've seen companies that were in the hundreds come back down to double digits, but Meta didn't do that. So if we're to continue that trend of continuing this kind of uptrend, right, after a big dip, I would expect us to follow this kind of a trend that we're making here, right? This pivot here that we've been making every single time we come back down, right? So hopefully we can see some sort of a bounce at this trend. So far this week, we had that bounce at that 155 level. Options, like you said, short that 155 if we crack. Yeah, so that could be another entry, right? But personally, for me, I'm a little bit biased to the long side because I do have a position again on Meta, since I did day trade it yesterday, but I added another position as well on Meta. So I added another position again on Meta today. So who knows? You know, we might just be able to see another push higher. But so far, we've been consolidating. And if you take a look at the 2-hour time frame, right, we have a nice wedge chart pattern forming as well. Okay, there's a level of resistance here, and the level of support forming right here. Okay. All right, so we have an ascending support trend line and a descending resistance trend line. So, hey, thank you guys for the 7 likes. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you guys. We're almost there to 10 likes. So, I like the fact that if you take a look at SPY and look at the last, most recent 2-hour candlesticks, right? Meta that hasn't been following the last 2-hour candlesticks here, right? Each, right? These 2 candlesticks right here. So, it kind of gives me a kind of a bias that the buyers are willing to hold the price here around 160. And if you guys are in the CFO Swing Watch and the privacy of a Discord, you guys should know that I'm looking at this 160 level, right? And since we have already bounced from this 155 level of support 3 times for a potential triple bottom, we can see a nice breakout above this wedge chart pattern, which is also inside this big macro base. Right, we've been just moving sideways here, right? The price hasn't moved anywhere since mid-June, right? So also, if you take a look at the daily time frame, we also have another triple bottom if the price decides to move away from this 155 level, right? So yeah, nice I find that divergence. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, right? And for the fact as well, on the weekly time frame, right? If you take a look at the RSI, okay, ever since we've been moving lower and lower and lower, the RSI just for sure, yes. I see that it's oversold. You guys can see that as well, right? It's still staying near oversold levels, right? Around 30. But ever since we started moving down, around since I would say April, starting from then, right? We haven't really gone lower, right? Than 30, right? We haven't moved like, back down to like 28 or 27 for the RSI on the weekly time frame. So that kind of gives me confidence that in the long term, this name is gaining and finding some sort of strength here on the longer term, which makes sense, even if you don't have to look at the RSI, right? Because you guys already know, I tend to know where the RSI is without even looking at it because I depend on price action. I'm used to kind of how technical indicators work, especially the RSI, which is why I also don't use technical indicators as much. The only technical indicators I basically use is SMAs, and I don't really, well, I guess you can say that the volume bars are an indicator, but for me, it's just like a correlation type of a, I guess, indicator that I use, but I don't really, define it in my head as an indicator. So you guys can as well though. But yeah, the SMAs and the volume bars is the only thing that I usually use. And I occasionally look at the RSI to make sure that I know where the relative strength is at. But like I said, we are following this trend line. Okay, so on the weekly time frame, we're still finding some sort of strength at this pivot point, potentially at 155. So take a look at Meta. Okay. All right, the next one I want you guys to look at is kind of a name that you guys probably haven't heard before. GH, okay, Guardant Health. All right, Guardant Health. Jesus, my braces are not helping. But so GH here, right? I've actually been looking at this name since I still have drawings back. Yeah, so back in 2018 after IPO, right? So this one is nearly back into IPO highs, right? So hopefully we can break away from the IPO highs again. And that level is around 52 to 51, right? So for GH here, we've been consolidating very, very well. And we have earnings this week, August 4th, right? So that's on Thursday after hours. So maybe something can come out of this consolidation, right? I mean, we've been uptrending so far, and during this uptrend, we're having a nice base on the uptrend, right? And that usually gives leeway for buyers to kind of pile in during an uptrend to see a movement higher. And if earnings are somehow good, right, and the earnings reaction is good, that means the buyers would have been right during this consolidation, and they will be fairly rewarded as the stock moves higher, and potentially this earnings catalyst can be the one that moves this price above 52, right? So the entry here will be a break above 52. If you guys want a more confirmation, I would say 53, since that was the last pivot point before we moved down on this candlestick right here, right? So the high of this candlestick was 52.88, right? The high of the day here. So if you want to use a whole number, use 53. Okay, so GH is a good name to look at, especially as kind of a defensive name as well, since healthcare names tend to be a defensive name, especially when we have huge risks across the world and across global markets, especially with war, right? With potential for war, and there's a lot of World War III talks again with China and the US, since we had these talks back in February as well, even last year, right? And if you guys are CFS Swing Watch members from last year, you guys already know that I have analyzed the potential war with Russia, especially Russia. And obviously we got that, right? We got that answer of what's happening with Ukraine and Russia. So let's see what happens with China as well. Okay, so those are kind of the three names that I want you guys to look at for tomorrow and for the rest of this week. If you guys have any charts that you guys want me to go over, make sure you guys do that now. And let me know in the live chat here. I'll be waiting. Oh, you know what? This is also another name here, CRM. So actually you guys should send the names right now, since there is a slight delay between you and you guys who are watching and me who received the chat here. Okay. So CRM here. So Salesforce, I like Salesforce here. I like the numbers. I like the fundamental metrics that I see, and I like the fact that it's been holding very, very strong. It's been basing for the past almost, well, more than 3 months here at this point, and it's been consolidating. If you look at the weekly time frame, right, we haven't erased all 2020 gains yet, right? And most tech names, if not all, that have been affected by the recent 2021, not 2021, but the recent downtrend in the overall tech sector, this has been holding, right? And it was able to move away from hitting that 2020 lows again, right? And instead, we're kind of curving here and moving up higher. So on the weekly time frame, on a longer term here, I expect us to come back to this 200 SMA on the weekly time frame. And if you go back to the daily time frame here, okay, we're also above the daily 10, 21, and 50 SMAs, right? So this is a good name to look at, and we're starting to use the 10 SMA as a level of support. So the short-term trend here, especially on the momentum side, we can see a great break above 186 and eventually hit around 180, 192. Okay. Joe, I just did meta. My apologies. You might have to go back to the recording. Okay, so that's the last name here, and then Valerie, BA. Good looks, BA. So Boeing is still seeing a lot of internal problems as a company, which is the reason why we're still seeing a very bogged down share price and a lot of compression, and we haven't really moved away from 2020 lows here, and we haven't even come back. We're not even close, actually, to pre-COVID levels, right? And it seems like COVID has actually allowed us to see the actual internal problems that Boeing has been having, especially after all those crashes, right? There's been a lot of management issues and management scandals, right? And how they're taking care of these crashes in airplanes and the production of these airplanes, which are one of their main sources of revenues, right? Hey, thank you guys for 8 likes. Can we get to 10? Can we get to 10? 2 more likes. Hey, welcome guys. A lot of new people coming in. Welcome. So Boeing here, Valerie, I would say wait until we have another retest of 157 here. Since that's kind of the level that we broke out of, since that was a previous level of resistance in the past, back in mid or early May. And so far, Boeing is still very, very weak. Earnings was not good, right? Both earnings and revenue did not meet expectations. And even if we're seeing some orders coming back in for Boeing, the number one thing that I want us to look at Boeing is the backlog of orders. I want to see them have so many backlogged orders that they need to fulfill, because that will mean there's more demand on the airplanes. But guess what? A lot of the airplanes that airliners are purchasing is not coming from Boeing anymore. It's coming from Airbus, right? Or I think so. I think that was the case back in like early March, I believe, if I read the right report or if I remember the report. But if I'm wrong, my apologies, but it's something along those lines, okay? So Boeing is also a defensive name. So if there's any war going on, there's going to be a lot of people who are trying to profit off of war, especially through the stock market. So Boeing is also going to be one to look at. But price level wise, I expect the price to come back down to the 10 SMA. Okay, so we are starting to fill in this gap here that we made in Monday and from last Friday. Okay, Valerie? So sellers are giving leeway here, have been given leeway here to come back in. Okay, but there's a major level of resistance at 167.50, which we just rejected off today. Okay. And then Google, oops. Yes, so Google is obviously, they had their stock split, which is the reason why you guys are, if you guys are wondering why that's not in the thousands, right? Thousands per share, right? They had a 20-to-1 split. So you guys should know what that split does. But Google here, yes, great range. And Google tends to be, it's considered a recession stock, even if no one really talks about Google being a recession stock, because Google also kind of has a, I guess, leverage that they're able to still grab some revenue during recessions, right? And I mean, people talk about Meta as a recession stock, literally here and there. Although it's not a popular term to use, especially on tech stocks like Google or Meta, right? Which was recently Facebook, right? But they are companies that aren't too affected by recessions. But Google, right? A lot of their revenue comes from their cloud revenue and from ads, right? So ad revenue can obviously be depleted really, really well, if that's even the right thing to say, during a recession since demand goes down, right? So, but Google here, price action wise, like you said, Joel, it's very, very good in the fact that we've been consolidating for the past 2.5 months. And I love the fact that we've reclaimed the 50 SMA here, right? And we're above the 10 and 21 with all three coiling like this, right? And Joel, if you remember, when I went over SMAs in our one-on-one mentorship sessions, right? I love it when SMAs start to coil, okay? And that usually gives off a sense that at some point, the price will move away either to the upside or to the downside, allowing the SMAs to uncoil, right? Because that will usually mean that the price is moving away from the SMAs here, which will allow the SMAs to uncoil. But usually when the SMA is starting to coil like this, right, especially with all the major SMAs, and usually not with the 200, since the 200 SMA is a very, very major long-term SMA, which will mean it will not usually be close to the 50, 10, and 21 as frequently as these three, okay? So Google, I think if you take a look at the 2-hour time frame, it's kind of messy, okay? But I see the range, right? And we've so far bounced away from this 106 to 105 support level, and possibly we can see another revisit back to 119.50 to 120. Okay, so yeah, we can definitely take an advantage of this, right? It looks pretty good. And if we can break above 116 tomorrow, 116.10, there's a good chance that we can go back to 120, right? At least revisit the base resistance at 120. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so the next one is options log GTLB. I think I heard this name before. Why have I heard this name before? GitLab, of course. Yes, I heard this name. GitLab. I think it's a tech name? Yes, technology, yeah. Okay, so GitLab, ooh, wow. Not bad. So let me just do some quick technical analysis here. My levels are here. I see a level here. I see another level here. And then I see nice async support for that right there. Okay, so GTLB, clear support here at the ascending support trend line. So we may be looking and witnessing here a ascending triangle, which has been previously converted from a double bottom here. And if you guys don't know where that is, we have our left bottom here, and then we have the right bottom right here. Right? I do remember, really recommend the tier with one-on-one session. Hey, thank you. Yeah, we had a killer session on Sunday night, didn't we? Or Saturday night. Yeah, so guys, if you guys are interested in joining and if you guys are wondering which tiers to choose, take a look at the description box below. We are having a 50% off. Okay, and there's only 5 people who could use those discount codes each, and there's only 2 discount codes, which means there's a total of 10 people who can use it, right? So make sure you guys do use those discount codes. It's there for you. It's an opportunity. But yeah, so GTLB, good base. If you take a look at the weekly time frame, we're curling. I like to see that. But usually I would like to see more of sideways instead of immediately going to the upside. But okay, I like the fact that we're kind of stair-stepping down the weekly volume as well. And that could usually mean that there could be a good breakout to the upside. And obviously, it seems like this was an IPO that was overvalued since we had so many IPOs and IPO frenzy last year and valuations that were out of this world that did not make sense. So this is kind of coming back down to earth to the right valuation, even though I have a feeling, just a gut feeling, that this name is still not in the right, valuation, right? It's still overvalued based on fundamental metrics, even if I haven't looked at it yet. But with GTLB, if it's losing steam here, I would say another rejection from, I would say 61 will be necessary to come back down and move more sideways here. So I would like to see another range forming between 46-ish to around 55. Okay, around 36 to 55, or you could just say 45 to 55 for a nice 10-point range. Okay, if you want to make it simple. But yeah, I like to see it come back down. Okay, and kind of move like this, right? And then the next one that I have to look at for you all will be, well, that was the last one. Does anyone else have any charts that that you want me to go over? I cannot speak today. Man, this Korean honey lemon ginger tea is absolutely soothing. Amazing. Okay, so I think that's it for tonight. Make sure you guys remember those 4 names, okay, that I went over. All right, so make sure you guys take a look at that. All right, don't forget it. Okay, and hopefully these names that I went over for you guys were helpful. Oh, DION. I did not see your message there. Wow, my apologies. Meridian Link. Okay, so yeah, chart wise looks good. It has earnings coming up next week, I think. No, it's Friday. No, wait, next week. Yes, next week. The thing is, I see a lot whenever I see names like this, right, where it's kind of wicky. There's a lot of wicks here. I can clearly tell it's low volume, and it seems like we do have very, very low volume. But DION, I would say grabbing shares and trading shares with a low volume name like this is always possible. Okay, I would not suggest you to look at option contract, because most likely this name will also have very, very low volume and very illiquid option contracts. And this seems like a, oh, okay, yeah, I thought so. Another another tech name here, specifically information technology services. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, so MLMK, let's see here, yeah, see another level there, and I see a nice trend line here as well. Not bad, not bad. Excuse me for my crude trend line drawings and technical analysis, but I'm trying to do it quickly for you all. And yeah, not bad. I kind of like this for some shares. Maybe I can just dump some about 1,000 worth of shares here for MLMK. It doesn't look that bad. It might be a good swing. Okay. So my bad, guys. I tend to especially when I'm talking out loud, my thoughts, I tend to just go off of my thoughts. So yeah, so the number one thing that I'm kind of looking at is this wedge. Okay, but I kind of like the fact that we have a nice angle to this ascending support range, trend line, because usually when we have more of a more slanted angle on the resistance, especially on a wedge, that kind of tells me that the sellers are a lot stronger, because that means the sellers have created pivot points on the resistance areas on the resistance trend line. Is they're basically pushing the price a lot quicker and a lot faster to the downside, right? Before the buyers can ever get a chance to try to break away and move above this descending level of resistance, right? So whenever I see the support slanted upward, right, I would expect to see buyers to be a little bit stronger, because they're having a lot more I would say higher angled pivot points, right? So that means they're not allowing the sellers to push the price lower from this ascending support trend line. Okay, so this looks really good. The only thing is, with low volume, I would want to see some low float as well, so that we can see a nice short squeeze for this name, since it is a low volume name. DION, you said little birdie. I know a little birdie that owns some shares because he works there. Ah, interesting. I see, and there's earnings coming up as well. Yeah, so this might be worth to take in some at least minimum 1K worth of shares here. So not bad. Yeah, so if you're able to break above $18 here, which will be great consolidation wise. So let me just show you guys here what I'm seeing in my head. All right, so if you come back down again, this will be our fourth retest of this descending level of resistance, right? We have one here, second one here, and then the third one right here, right? We have a fourth one, come back down a little bit, okay, and then kind of consolidate right underneath it and shoot right up, which will mean we have a nice ideal entry at $18, right? So around 18.10, we could go up and break out and head back to this major level of resistance around $20, right? And if you take a look here, all right, this $20 level of resistance was used in the past as a level of support. And obviously this level of support was the line in the sand after IPO, because when we broke it, an immense amount of selling started to happen, right? With volume as well. Okay, so this was a clear level, significant level, right? Since it was a line in the sand as support during the IPO lows here. And then it started to use it as a level of resistance, which is still a level of resistance since the price is below $20. Okay, so if you're able to do exactly what I proposed here for the price action and price trend, it would be great if you come back up and retest the 200 SMA, which just started forming as well, which should kind of arrive around $19 if we decide to move up higher. Okay, so maybe you can start unloading some shares after the entry of $18. Does that make sense? But yeah, very good one here. Oh, and also, with this fourth retest here, that'll be officially more retests than the 3 retests on the ascending support trendline as well, which should be better, right? Because that means the price really wants to break out of the resistance ceiling here. Okay, DION? But great name, wow. I normally wouldn't trade this one since it's very illiquid, low volume, but it might just be worth it. It's kind of cheap. It's in the teens here, so I usually don't look at names in teens, especially with low volume. But hey, why not? It's showing a high quality setup. Obviously, it's not going to be on top of my list, but I will make sure I keep an eye on it. I'll probably even just right now set up an alert here at $18. Okay, thank you very much. Looks pretty good here. Hey, you're welcome. All right, so that's officially it for tonight. I'll see you guys all tomorrow as well at 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully you guys are managing your positions well. If you guys are ever interested in joining, or if you guys know anyone who's interested in joining, right, let me know, because you guys can become official CFO affiliates, right? And you guys can earn commission if you guys know people who successfully sign up and join with you. Right, so I obviously just want to make sure you guys are able to earn some passive income as well, because the market is already stressful as it is, right? And what's so bad about having an extra side of income, especially if you're an affiliate for something, right? So, all right, if you guys want more, information on that, please let me know, DM me, okay? Or email me, whatever that you guys want to use, okay, on Discord, whatever. But yeah, have a great rest of your night. I'll see you guys all tomorrow, and remember, work hard and trade smart. Thank you all for your time, and thank you for watching.